Welcome to the High Ground podcast, and today, as of recording, it's November.
We're in 2019 LA.
Yeah, and as of a few days after recording this, we are going. Blade Runner is no longer good. It's not good in the future. It's not in the future as we speak.
No, it's one of those disappointing, weird paradoxes like 2001, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where we've caught up with the future.
And Back to the Future Part 2.
Back to the Future, yeah.
So, 1982, the flop that was Blade Runner.
Which is now the greatest film ever made that is Blade Runner.
Yeah.
In a lot of critical circles.
And has one of the best sequels ever made.
Oh, 1000%, yeah.
Because it... but I want to do a bit of a shout out first to Rutger Hauer, who passed away earlier this year. May he rest in peace.
We did want to actually do this as a sort of memorial for Rutger Hauer, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because, I mean... like we were literally 2 seconds ago just saying that I said, how many films have you seen of Rutger Hauer? And I'm sad to say you've only seen 3, which is
great
that I could pass on all these films.
Yeah, I'm going to soon, because
Bone Up.
Yes, and
yes. The Hitcher is the one where you want to channel in the Roy Batty thing. The Hitcher is great. It goes back to the whole thing I had when Alan Rickman passed away, and people were saying to me, isn't it a shame that he's only known really for one role? But it's how Not
good the role is.
I mean, undoubtedly, Rutger Hauer is Roy Batty.
Yeah.
Isn't he?
And his speech, we watched it last week.
Favourite movie speech of all time.
Oh God, like tears.
Yeah, I can quote that full. Like, when people bring it up,
Blade Runner was ahead of his time.
Oh, I think that's probably why it threw people off as well. And agreeably, both of us, when we first saw it, didn't like it.
Oh, I was too young.
Yeah, it was marketed so wrong. Just using Harrison Ford on the poster, that's the wrong thing. Like, people thinking, oh, Han Solo or Indiana Jones, this is going to be cool. And, it kind of didn't turn out that way because of how deep it is.
How many Star Wars fans went to watch it because of Harrison Ford was in it? They were kids like myself. I watched it. The only reason I watched it was because of Harrison Ford.
Yeah. And
you don't understand it when you're a kid.
No. And what is sad as well is how much of a Kickstarter it was for things like the cyberpunk genre and using practical effects to make you think you are 100% in 2019 LA. And it still works today.
We hooked up a cheap projector.
Oh, we did, yeah.
And we watched it on the wall, and we literally, and there are, if it's a film you see, we all admit we put the subtitles on and we chat, but we barely said a word during Blade Runner because we were just. And
it was lovely trying to find that moment for you at the end where I had spotted Rachel in the background, which sets up the. If you're wondering, it's the scene before Leon tries to kill Deckard, and just after Zora's shot, you can see Rachel in the background as Deckard's talking to one of the policemen, and it's just setting up that whole. That's why she's there. That's why she's there. She shoot. That's how she shoots Leon, because you kind of, when you're younger, you think, well, she came out of nowhere there.
Yeah. And
it's 37 years later that we're still doing that, finding new things in a film. That's unreal. You can't do that with films now.
No.
You really, the last set of films I think you can do that with is The Matrix. I know you don't like it, but the tapestry and the mosaic that you can go back and say, didn't notice that in The Matrix before. You can at least admit that it has that.
The thing with Star Wars is
intertextuality.
They actually make sure they're there so they can sell more stuff, and so it's like, oh, that's in the background because of this now, because it's something George Lucas did,
but not because I put this there because it's part of the story.
It's all there for ulterior motive.
Ridley Scott's great at that.
He's brilliant.
And
and okay, I've got to this. Like, there's the director's cut, the final cut, and the theatrical cut. Which is yours?
There's 5 versions. There's director's cut, final cut, theatrical cut, European cut, and work print, which is my favourite.
Yeah.
I like the final cut, and that is really cliched because, it's when directors say this is my definitive cut. I always think until the next one. But the fact that they went back, used special effects to clean up the film, i.e. with the scene with Zora where they CG Joanna Cassidy's face on instead of the obvious stunt double from the original, where they use, when we were discussing as well, Ben Ford, Harrison Ford's son, as like a scene where they didn't have the audio from Harrison Ford, and he sounds so much like Harrison Ford you wouldn't even know anyway.
No.
And it's cool, like that sort of stuff. And the Tears in the Rain scene, cleaning up the sky so it's not bright, and
replacing the backdrop from the studio to a...
Yes, yeah, that's why I like the final cut.
Well, I mean, I agree with you on the final cut, but when I was younger, in because I saw the director's cut when it came out.
That was 91, was it? 92? Was it a 10-year anniversary thing?
No, it came out when you found the print.
Was it?
It'd be mid-90s. I think it was at college, it'd be about 93 time. I saw the when you watch the director's cut the first time without the narrative, the narration over it, it can be quite confusing.
Yeah.
And that's...
But it works.
When you get older and you appreciate and you watch the film more, you actually... It does sound jolty because they're spelling everything out for you. And
we did that, didn't we? We went back when we watched the final cut. We went back to the theatrical and we watched the Tears in the Rain scene with the narration, and it's awful, isn't it?
It is.
It's so jarring that you need to be explained to that that's why Batty did what he did, instead of, well, I think that's why Batty did what he did.
But if you watch it, you understand why he did. We don't need it explained to you.
Yeah.
And the bit where they use the shots, new shots from The Shining, just to go, well, Tyrell said he had no shelf life. She had no lifespan. She was, and then you just see the unicorn sequence and Gaff leaving the little unicorn outside. Door shuts.
Deckard nods as if
he knows, and bang, straight into the credits.
Yeah,
that works so much. You don't know if that's a warning from Gaff,
or if it's I understand why you did it for her, or the big one that everyone says about Blade Runner, Deckard's replicant, question mark.
And Gaff knows he's a replicant.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that really, when 2049 came around, was going to be why I was not going to like
the sticking point was which version that they're going to go with as canon, and none really. Like Deckard is maybe still a replicant, but we're not going to say he is or isn't.
One thing that got me about 2049, there's a few things about 2049. I'm just going to gloss on 2049 quickly.
So good.
Is that 2049? I like the way that Sapper, for me, is my favourite character.
Yeah.
And I also like the way that, spoilers, switch it off if you haven't seen 2049, is the way that Gaff returns, and you don't know if he's a replicant or not.
And it's almost like, he's in it looks like a care home.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? And also getting out of the way right at the start, which is probably a sly sort of joke to do with the fact that we all debated for years whether Deckard was a replicant. Oh, your main character Kay? Yeah, he's definitely a replicant.
Yeah.
Already. And we're using him. That was that was so clever. Oh. So clever.
And of course, Tears in Rain again in 2049.
At the end,
which goes back to Rutger Hauer.
And I don't know how many times I said this to you, didn't I? I've never seen a sequel that inhabits the world of the original as flawlessly and perfectly as 2049.
It was, 2049, it's got a runtime of, let's have a look.
It's 2.5 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like you're sitting through a 2
No.
And 2 hours 44 minutes, it was one of those ones, a talky film. I mean, I got my fiance into it, and she sat through it and enjoyed it as well, and that's always the thing about Blade Runner. I mean, when I bought Blade Runner on Blu-ray, it was, well, I needed it anyway, but I wanted my fiance to watch Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And it's one of these films that I love it, so you have to love it, sort of thing.
Yeah. I remember when I was at university when the final cut came out in 2007, I think, which was when they did that mad 5-disc edition of the DVD. And I had never seen Blade Runner. Had seen Blade Runner when I was younger, which was the theatrical cut, and that was the last time I watched it when I knew I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And even I went, well, they made the effort with this DVD. Let's have a go.
Yeah.
Loved it. And it's one of those weird situations that only Blade Runner does. Again, like Tarantino, you may not like it when you're younger, and then you watch it again and you're like, love this film. Absolutely love this film.
I'm talking theatrical cuts here, because that's what we had before they actually...
It would have been theatrical or international.
Yeah.
Either or.
I watched it on video. I remember this is years, about 2-3 years after watching Blade Runner the first time and not getting it. because it was too dark. I mean, you're a
You
Star Wars
have to
fan.
not get it. I think.
Yeah.
If you know, unless you've really read Philip K. Dick or you are a mad science fiction apart from film fan, you wouldn't get it. No.
But
And I think that's the adaptability of having the 5 versions of it, that you can trawl through these versions where, you know, Blade Runner's almost become like that mythical holy grail of film, hasn't it? Where, you do find the version you like.
Yeah,
that's quite weird in a film.
But then again,
world.
it goes to, you can discuss it because there's no right or wrong on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I always think Blade Runner is a film that Stanley Kubrick should have made, in a way, you know.
I like the whole thing after watching Alien on the big screen earlier this year. I like that it's got that gritty feel that went back to went back to that certain other film from '77 with the used universe. But I think when I watched Blade Runner a second time on video, as soon as I got to the end and I got it, I rewound the video, watched it again, and that's something I never did at that time.
I think it's one of those films that does owe its existence to home entertainment, isn't it? You know, without video, I think it would be still sitting there, people thinking rubbish. You know, like a lot of cult films thrived on video, don't they, or home release. And it's not something you really see that much anymore. Like,
if it gets a cinema release, if you're lucky, then it's all streaming and goes to the next.
I think the last cult film I saw that had that cult sensibility where it was revived on Blu-ray was Dredd. Dredd's the last thing where I sort of flopped and then had an absolutely amazing Blu-ray release because people were like, no, you have to see this film because it was amazing. That's the last sort of cult film, I think.
I'm going to go slightly different. I'm going to say What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, but that was liked.
Yeah, but
whereas
it
Dredd
got a bigger
failed.
audience after the TV series.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that it has a TV series is because people liked it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, we're still sort of thinking, where's Dredd with Carl Urban?
That
Who
was
wants it
good
to
film. That was
happen?
ultra violent. That was his problem.
But that's how, you know, that's that Blade Runner aesthetic of let's bring the other version out, or it had that shelf life on home entertainment. The Thing as well, flop. And the same year as Blade Runner because of E.T., like we were saying earlier.
Yeah, Blade Runner E.T. got lost in the mix.
Yeah, 100%. Blade Runner Thing. Yeah, 100%.
The thing is, like we were saying on a previous one, which we just did, the Pulp Fiction one. If you're paying attention, if you're actually keeping count, is that people remember with Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump, people remember Pulp Fiction more. But if you look at Blade Runner, E.T. was the film that toppled Star Wars.
It was too big, wasn't it? It was.
But same year, Blade Runner, Fast Times, Tron, E.T., The Thing, King of Comedy, First Blood, Grease 2, Dark Crystal, Annie, Conan the Barbarian, Officer and a Gentleman, Rocky 3, Wrath of Khan. Everything was eclipsed by
E.T.
E.T. But now, look how many other films that I don't own E.T. I mean,
no, I don't either. Actually, it's a film I remember. I always remember being there as a kid, and everyone saying you have no heart if you don't cry at the end. But I must not have a heart now because I don't cry at the end anymore.
I saw E.T. at the cinema.
I do still like the whole, like, you know, the bit at the end when he's like, "I'll be in here," and he points to his heart. That's heartwarming. But I think the whole idea of E.T. is that it's too saccharine, it's too sweet, and the two big, great films, The Thing and Blade Runner, that made 1982 special.
Yeah.
That's what annoys me.
But they've to film fanatics. Yeah. You're more likely to have. I mean, I will get The Thing eventually because that was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm glad. That's another thing that I'm glad about. That I like about cult. That still works to this day. Where you go, watch this. I like it. You may like it. Hope you like it.
And that's what I love about doing these podcasts. Is that when we do the podcast, we literally watch a film afterwards. We don't go as a rule mainstream.
No, and it may pass on that listeners may think, oh well, I haven't seen that. I might go watch that. Yeah, and like you, for me, grateful. I'm really grateful that you showed me was Chef.
Thank you.
That's that cult thing.
My one.
I like that I like that cult thing. Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, Night of the Living Dead. Yeah.
The ones that was. Oh, but you also introduced me to. You're the one that said, if you get a chance, see What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
And I found it on. This is before the TV series was announced.
Yeah.
And I went out and bought it. And this is the thing, cult films. It's
different. It's special.
And Blade Runner is.
Yeah.
And of course, Big Lebowski. Let's throw that film in there. Is Blade Runner is the original.
It's the quintessential, isn't it?
Cult film. The one that. Have you seen Have you seen? Sorry, publishing on my brain. Have you seen Blade Runner? Blade Runner is this great film.
Yeah.
And it's introducing people to it. And and again, it goes we were saying about the video market. I mean, the casting is superb. I mean, Daryl Hannah.
Yeah. It's even the little bits like, you know, like Joanna Cassidy, like Brian James, like those sort of people. Emmett Walsh, the ones you don't see very much, but you still remember them afterwards. And Tyrell, and you know, the guy that plays Sebastian as well. Is it William Sanderson?
Yeah, William Sanderson.
If
only you'd seen what I have seen with your eyes.
Yeah. Just, I mean, it's
the heart.
Yeah.
It may be fake memories, but Leon goes back for his photographs. And how the replicants cling on to life. The thing is, they're not bad.
No.
None of them, and that's the thing.
No. We're bad.
Yeah.
You know.
Where is Deckard is the one that's hunting them down.
Yeah.
So they're doing what all Roy wants and his little band of Nexus. All they want is to live. Isn't that what we all want?
Yeah.
And it's the bad guy really is Deckard.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like they do bad things.
Yeah.
But why is that no different to us? You know, hunting down, like you say, hunting down things because they are things. They're not. They're the other with a capital O.
Yeah, we're led to believe that they're bad, but they come to Earth. They because they want life. And that's it. So
and the real bad guy is Tyrell, really.
Yeah.
But that's the more obvious bad guy. But yeah, I mean Deckard, he is technically a bad guy. And that's what I like about him in 2049.
Yeah.
The fact that he's had a child with Rachel, that she is everything to him, and he realizes what he did in the first film was kind of douche.
Yeah, that he admits he had to go away. He had to go away to protect their child.
Yeah, and that he passes it on to Kay.
Yeah.
A replicant.
Yeah.
But
then Kay retires.
Yeah.
Sapper.
Yeah.
And even though Sapper's seen stuff like Batty has,
I haven't seen. Yeah.
And a miracle. And it's superb. I mean, the casting, the matte paintings they use, the models, everything is.
It's the Sid Mead futurism stuff, isn't it? And Doug Trumbull, and there's no way you could beat the special effects.
If you get a chance, get a Blu-ray. Watch Danger Days, the making of because about that stuff you find out they actually recycled for Blade Runner 2.
Yeah,
2049 is unbelievable.
It's an amazing documentary, isn't
Fantastic.
It's 4 hours, isn't it? But 3 hours, sorry. But I mean, it's the definitive documentary about Blade Runner.
I watched it after 2049 came out when I was Danger Days, isn't it?
Dangerous Days.
Dangerous. You should have a thing on IMDb.
It was the original name of the film, I think.
Yeah.
When they wrote script.
Dangerous Days. Yep, Blade Runner. See, Dangerous Days, the making of Blade Runner, 2007.
It was included with the 5-disc one originally. Yeah.
It's 3 hours. You closer than me. 3 hours 34 minutes. I watched that in a day, which the heating had gone off, and I needed something to do, and I was. It was literally, and you learn so much from it. And it's just, I mean, Brian James as Leon. You're so sympathetic towards.
Yeah, it's what is it he says to him when he's quite a thing to live in fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know. That the dialogue is amazing in Blade Runner, and it's mainly the dialogue from Rutger Hauer, isn't it?
Yeah, you say about people crying at the end of people. You say if you don't have a heart, you don't cry at E.T.
If you don't cry with the tears in the rain speech, yeah. Harrison Ford's actually ironically the one that doesn't really do that much in it. And that's deliberate because the detective guy is the one who doesn't. Well, I don't know. I mean, it is a noir science fiction, isn't it? But the detective's usually in the old film noir is usually the one that drives the plot forward. Deckard doesn't really do that much.
Just tries to retire people.
Yeah.
And gets into an affair with a possible replicant.
Yeah.
Well, a replicant, not possible replicant.
And it's ironic that they take the detective archetype and turn it on its head.
Yeah.
That he's the one that doesn't really do that much in it.
But he is the bad guy, but you don't see him as the bad guy.
I mean, doesn't he pretty much rape Rachel as well? You know.
Product though.
Yeah.
And that's.
It's not. She's not human. It's okay.
No, because she actually tells her what to say.
Yeah.
Even though he is falling for her, but there's a bit of guilt.
Yeah, that's rape, isn't it?
Yeah.
Say I want you.
Yeah.
Kiss me. You know.
But they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they are product. Like you watch the Channel 4 TV series Humans, they are product.
Yeah.
The robots are. I remember when the advertising came out for Humans. It was all the viral thing about.
I've never watched that.
Humans is good, but they did the whole viral thing about these robots. And I actually spoke to someone at the time when the viral advertising was around. I actually thought that was all real. They didn't realise it was viral.
Yeah.
I had to point it out to them and said, it's viral advertising. You can tell they're promoting something. They actually thought technology got that far. That was a few years ago. Yeah.
I mean, that goes back to the whole thing about the word robot meaning slave in Czech, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they don't seem like robots, the replicants, do they? I mean, they specifically didn't want to use the word android, didn't they? Because
I just wonder where the word robot means slave from. That's from World's End.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, but it is actually true. Yeah. Like that is what that word means. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go back to the original use of that word, it's a Czech writer called Karel Čapek, and he wrote a play called RUR, which is Rossum's Universal Robots. Oh. That's where the term robot originally came from, and it does actually mean slave.
Jeez.
So, if you like your homework, go read it.
Yeah. See, we're actually giving you education as we're doing this.
I think another thing we should also talk about is how the film compares to the novel.
I've not read the novel.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. But I mean, if you have, you'll know it's very, very different.
But then they just strip the bones from it.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's Dick actually did say that when he watched the raw footage before he died, he did say, it's like you've gone into my brain somehow and stole the imagery. How did you do this? Well, that's how great Blade Runner is.
I will. I think that's gonna be on my.
Yeah.
I just finished book based on a film.
Jaws. Yeah.
I'll reverse what I've just said. So yeah, I think Blade Runner is gonna be my it's gonna be on one of my next ones.
Yeah. I mean, I really wish he'd survived to see the film, because I think he actually would have liked it, because he was notoriously against people adapting his films.
A bit like Alan Moore.
As you can see with things like Total Recall, but you know, things like Paycheck and the remake of Total Recall, and there's a lot of stuff based on Dick that's rubbish, as there is on Wells, who are these great science fiction giants.
But the thing about I always go back to the teen comedy, where if you look at American Pie and Harold and Kumar, where those two stand out because they have a heart to it, but you can, and everybody tries to emulate, even if they take the material, they just read the material and they can just see the words on there and pick out the key words, whereas rather than getting to the heart of it, and that's the problem with things, is that if you don't get to the heart of what you're trying to say, or what the author or the writer is trying to say, is you just got a bit of crap that's out there that's just got the name on it.
Yeah.
Like what I was saying about the teen comedies, is where the ones that have a heart, the ones that actually work, are the ones that have the heart to it, and the ones that actually get the source material are the ones that you will go back to because they understand what the author is saying. Yeah. And I know Alan Moore doesn't like the adaptations.
It's to the point that he's not even credited in
any of it now. But Damon Lindelof's new interpretation of The Watchmen and Zack Snyder's Watchmen, I think, because I read the source material after I saw Zack Snyder's Watchmen. Yeah. He got it and he translated it perfectly.
I like the film more. I don't actually like the comic, which is controversial, and you can bat me if you want. But I actually really like the film more than the comic.
Yeah, because
it's not as cold.
But he took the
the essence. Yeah. And as well with Blade Runner, the essence that it captures so very well. And Philip K. Dick said this many times. The message behind Blade Runner and Andrew's Dream of Electric Sheep is what makes the authentic human being. And that's what drives the whole story. Like, Deckard is not authentic.
No.
And the great comparison that Dick said he made when he was trying to come up with the idea of, the idea of it was the android in the novel, replicant in the film, but the idea of making an authentic human being, when he was researching Man in the High Castle, which is a great adaptation of Dick as well now. If you don't know, it's the alternate history where the Nazis won the war. But he said the one thing that stumped him about reading about authentic human beings was when he was trying to research the Nazi mentality, and that he could not understand these people. And that's the idea behind Blade Runner, that he couldn't understand why you would want to hunt down people just because they're different. That's the Blade Runner thing they capture in the film so well.
It's because people are led to believe that these people are different, are bad, because it's all through propaganda.
Yeah.
So you're
more human than human.
Yeah.
Tyrell is.
And Deckard is, irregardless of if you think he's a better replicant or not, Deckard and the Blade Runner unit are the least human in the.
Yeah.
Because their agenda is kill
them because they're
replicants.
different. Yeah.
Whereas the Nexus is to live. Rachel was upset when she found out that she was
not real.
As
you would be.
Yeah.
But then there's another quote from Dick, and it's fantastic, and it absolutely encapsulates the whole thing about Blade Runner. He said one day, in terms of human versus not human, android versus human, one day there'll be a confrontation. A man will shoot an android, and when the android dies, blood will come flowing out like it would with a normal person. He says, and then one day an android will shoot a human, and the human will die, and there'll be a puff of smoke, electrics, wires. He says, how do we know what is human, what is not? What defines human? That's Blade Runner. The essence, isn't it? I mean,
good back to we don't know if Deckard's a human or not.
Yeah, and if it even matters.
Not really.
No.
He's an asshole, pardon my language, doing a job.
Yeah.
That he's programmed to do. Which, if he's programmed to do a job, or given the job to do, is still bad. Even if he is flesh and bones or electrics, he's still a robot. Because he doesn't question what he's doing.
Yeah.
Kay.
Like the Nazis.
Yeah. Kay didn't question what he was doing.
Yeah.
Because even though it was revealed that he was a replicant right from the start. But he'll happily retire another replicant.
Yeah.
Which again, going back to Nazism.
Yeah.
How
make the Jews do it to themselves.
Yeah. And
but the great thing about 2049 is that even though he is a replicant, he learns by the end to change.
Evolves.
Yeah.
Which is, I suppose, if he's been human, he's a robot that evolves to feel. Especially when he thought that he might actually be Rachel and.
Yeah, and that was a big thing for Dick as well. What he felt made an authentic human being was empathy. That you can feel sorry for people and you can think like they do. That's what makes an authentic human being. And that whole Voight Camp test thing, that it tests for empathy in the replicants, isn't that's weird. Why are humans testing robots to see if they're empathetic? And if they are, why are you killing them?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, no matter what the results are, they will be retired anyway.
Yeah.
So you could actually, if Rachel had been male, would you have retired Rachel there and then on the spot?
Exactly. Yeah.
But he just wanted, he felt an attraction to her.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, and going back to what you were saying about I suppose you could argue it was consensual with the robot, with the replicant, with Rachel. But he still forces himself on her.
Yeah, it's on the borderline of being.
So so that makes him lacking in emotion.
Yeah.
Other than lust.
Yeah.
So the only emotion he was feeling is lust, that he wanted to have his way with her.
Yeah.
Rather than at that point love. He
What?
fell for her, but he had lust for her to start with.
Yeah.
So that's wrong.
Yeah.
But she was product at that point.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's different from the novel. In the novel, Deckard's married.
Yeah.
And his wife is basically just a drug addict, and they have this thing in the novel called the mood organ, and you can basically dial up what mood you want to feel, and she constantly dials up entropy, where she just wants to sit in a bed and do nothing all day, and you know, that's another whole who's the robot there.
Yeah.
You know, we're attached to a mood organ.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's different. The novel, it's totally different, but I think the definitive Blade Runner's definitive. You know, it's the one you remember, and it's probably also what gave Philip K. Dick the resurgence in films that happened.
Again, if you think about it, we'll go back to the basic levels. Is the whole universe he created? No one was doing dark films at that time in terms of science fiction.
Cerebral.
It was everything was. Your Star Trek, your Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars was used in the universe. Star Wars was the starting point of everything worn and old that went to Alien, and Alien, literally the next step was, even though they're both Ridley Scott, was Blade Runner.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also sadly the point where it homogenized cinema, wasn't it? Where, you know, like, we need to copy Star Wars because that made all the money, you know, and ironically, going back to Star Trek, the main criticism with Blade Runner was it was too cerebral. Star Trek the motion picture, too cerebral. Let's make Wrath of Khan more like Star Wars. You know, I mean, it's weird, isn't it?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here because I watched them both a while ago. If we were to sit down right now and the choice was Star Trek or Wrath of Khan, I'd be going for the original Star Trek. To me, that is the superior film. I actually found it more enjoyable as well. I'm sorry, I do.
No, I agree. I mean, Wrath of Khan is my personal favourite Star Trek film, but yeah, I really, really like the motion picture now more than I did. Again, I watched the motion picture originally and didn't like it.
Me too.
It seemed more like a pilot for, what was supposed to be a pilot for Phase 2, wasn't it? But, yeah, and then you get Wrath of Khan. Let's have a clean sheet, new uniform, you know, new Kirk, you know, and it's that whole. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? How you sort of change your opinion over the years about the films you didn't like originally that you do now.
I suppose with Blade Runner, it's because you just don't understand it when you're a kid.
Yeah.
But with other stuff, it depends. You know, life experience.
Yeah.
Life experience goes into play, and it is also on your interpretation. And this is life experience, and you know, this is my 40 years this year. Star Wars. I've been a fan since '79. In all that time, you know, there've been some periods where I went off of it because they basically released nothing but video games and the animated series, which I wasn't into.
Yeah.
And of course the toys went downhill, the quality. But it's still consistent, and ever since but it's very rare that you'll watch a film when you're a child, and unless you're a complete film geek, which we are. It's very rare that you'll literally think of with Blade Runner or something like that, a film from 1982, where you're still watching now.
Yeah.
And
discussing.
Yeah, and it's because tastes change over the years, but with something like Blade Runner, you know, I'll be watching this in 20, 30 years time.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
It's just. It's that good, and might have a different interpretation at the end, but then again, you know, how you see it, like I said, is all down to with a lot of good films. Is we can debate it. It's not like it's one of these films where it's like A to B to C. This is the story. This is nothing really else to discuss.
Yeah.
Like your Michael Bay action films.
I mean, you do like them films when you want to switch off. You know, when you just need entertainment. You do need those films, but. Then you can't go back and discuss them like you do with things like, I mean, like taste changing. I didn't like Fight Club when it first came out because I didn't understand that it was a satire. Now I absolutely love it, because you do get that it's taking the piss out of these things that we all do, this fake masculinity. I didn't get that. When I was younger, I thought it was. It's another one, isn't it, that the marketing killed it in the box office, because it was marketed as something else. And like when we watched Nightbreed again the other night, for the first time in years, that was killed by the marketing, because they marketed it as a slasher.
It's a fantasy.
And it's not a slasher. Yeah, it's
brilliant.
It's this wonderful, dark fantasy that only Barker can do.
And it,
it's
it should have been bigger.
I hate that studios do that.
Birdman was marketed more as a comedy.
Oh, I still need to watch that.
I'll do it in a couple of weeks. I actually persuaded my fiance to come with me to the cinema, and my mate to come to cinema with me.
Yeah.
On the fact that I had an idea what it was, but I just thought, I want to see it with these two, because both. Hi Ash. I went with him, and because I thought it was going to be something, but it wasn't. And it was, and I was like, they both enjoyed it, and I was like, yes, and I enjoyed it. It was better than I thought, and it was just, I was like, yes.
I've always thought, if you can't market something, or if you can't produce a trailer that accurately represent, then don't. Just let people go see it.
Yeah.
You don't always, deep films like Blade Runner, you don't really need a trailer.
No.
Films like John Wick or Star Wars, you do need a trailer, because I don't know. I like the trailers they've done for the new Star Wars films, because they haven't revealed anything really that much. And that's the sort of thing I like about trailers, where you anticipate, I can't wait for the new Star Wars trailer, because it's a taste of what you're going to see. You don't need that with Blade Runner. You need to go in fresh and not know what's going on, and that's the great thing about it.
Bad Times at El Royale.
I
wanted to see that film, the trailer, because it looked like a Tarantino film.
Yeah.
It's a very Tarantino film, but I didn't go see it because of the trailer. I wanted to see it because I thought it was.
You wanted to see it.
I wanted to see it. Plus, Jeff Bridges being in it didn't kind of help. Drew Goddard directed it, and I just and it was right. It was good, and the poster was pretty sweet as well. Oh yeah, but that's a story for something for another time. The poster is.
I think, if you ever watch the original the trailer for Jaws, where they say the devil has teeth and his name is Jaws, or something like that. It's something like that. I can't remember what they say, but that's another film you don't really need a trailer for, is it? You can't really show that
poster sells it
until you see it. Yeah, the poster, 100,000%. That poster is so cool.
Yeah,
because that's all you need.
Poster you want on your walls.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen the original trailer for A New Hope?
Yeah, the one with the air raid sirens on it.
It's so you don't. It's weird.
1,000 years in the past.
Yeah.
Somewhere in a different universe, this might be happening right now.
Yeah, and it's so.
Star Wars coming to a theater near you.
Yeah, it's so hokey, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you think
there's
then you
nothing
put the music
like
to it. The original. Yeah.
But they didn't know how. Even with Empire Strikes Back, the original trailer, that was shite. Your favorite heroes are back! Princess Leia, Chewbacca, and introducing Lando Calrissian.
I just think if you can't market something, just don't. People will decide themselves.
They don't have to worry about it now. Most things go to Netflix.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Oh,
I 100% think now if Star Wars released, it would be on Netflix. Blade Runner would definitely be on Netflix.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to say it, or do you want me to say it? Name of that film that really wound me right up.
Oh, Annihilation. Yeah.
Annihilation. I bought it on Blu-ray, even though you can still watch it on streaming services, because that wound me up.
Yeah.
Another film, you could argue owes itself to Blade Runner, but Annihilation is good. If you haven't seen Annihilation, watch it. But I'm going back to 2049 Blade Runner.
So I think Ex Machina owes a lot to Blade Runner as well, doesn't it?
Ex Machina is brilliant.
The Alex Garland duology.
The ending's superb.
Oh god, yeah.
Not going to spoil it. Watch the film. That's one of those films where Well, yeah, definitely. The Ex Machina, we'll watch that again. I'll put that on the
definitely, yeah.
We'll put that through the projector. Now, the Ex Machina, where you think you know the ending, then boom, you're like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Again with Blade Runner, again the ending when.
Yeah, I mean you can't really see that coming unless you know. I mean it's iconic now because everyone knows that speech. But definitely.
But yeah, everything that Rutger Hauer says is spot on.
Yeah, he's
quotable.
Fantastic.
But no, just to go all heterosexual for a second. Daryl Hannah's pretty fit in it.
Yeah.
She's quite hot. But then again, isn't she supposed to be a pleasure droid?
Yeah.
Pleasure replicant.
And I think that's quite sad as well. You know, the whole scene where I know that's probably where Pris, she's trying to lure Sebastian, isn't she, when she sleeps in the newspaper and that. But it does look kind of sad when you see her just walking through the rain with nothing.
Freaks me out when she's wailing on the floor.
Oh God, yeah, when he shoots her,
yeah. Again, going back to Deckard being cold-blooded. Looking at some of the stills that they released when the film came out, I'd love to have been an on-set photographer.
Oh God, yeah. Apparently, it was a production to behold because I think it's like the definition of troubled production, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But it worked out in the end. You know, apparently Harrison Ford and Ridley Scott hated each other. I don't know how true that is, but I mean, I get the impression they're both quite bullish, aren't they?
Look at this. This from the stuff they sent out to the cinemas. The press kits. I love looking at old press kits photos in black and white.
Yeah, they're cool, aren't they?
Go on IMDb, just type in Blade Runner and have a look at some of the photos. They're fantastic.
I always thought Blade Runner would look amazing in black and white.
Should we try that soon?
It would be cool, wouldn't it? How would you do it though?
Turn down. I could do that. Just change and we'll test it out another day. If you ever get a chance and you want to get the things the cinema style, buy a cheap projector.
Yeah, it's well worth it.
Project it onto your walls. You get the whole cinema experience. It's absolutely fantastic.
I've always wanted to try watching iconic films in black and white to see if they worked.
I have Nolan Noir. That gave us a freebie.
Yeah, but I mean, how cool would it be to watch like Jaws in black and white, see if it worked, or Alien, or
coming soon to the High Ground podcast. We're going to be black and white watching
best
some films.
Colour, yeah. I mean, Night of the Living Dead was so good in colour. Black and white, sorry. Yeah, or I don't know. It'd be weird, wouldn't it?
Coming soon, we're going to be doing a Night of the Living Dead audio commentary.
Oh my God, yeah. I love priceless your reaction at the end.
Oh, the ending's superb. That is seriously one of the best endings I've ever seen to a horror film. It's one of these films you think you know, then when you eventually watch it, you just go, wow, it's truly. It was groundbreaking and it's still groundbreaking today, especially in today's climate.
I think it's a shame that Romero's only remembered as this zombie guy. You know, like he did so much more than that with the genre.
But you think about it, the way
just like Ridley Scott did with science fiction. I mean, it's weird that 2 or 3 of the greatest films ever made are science fiction, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like 2001, the original Solaris. You know, all these great films that are actually science fiction films.
I'm just looking for a name. I think you can say a lot more in science fiction than you can in any other genre.
Because it's right now, isn't it?
Yeah. What's his name?
I mean, H.G. Wells, when he wrote War of the Worlds, he basically said, you know, this is what would happen. You know, when we go and we make colonies in Africa, or we stamp our boots all over tribes because we have technology. This is how it would feel for us if someone did it to us. The Great British Empire, and that was always his idea behind War of the Worlds. What happens if someone does that to us? Yeah. Would we like it?
No, but everybody forgets that you know, every Western country did it to someone.
No, of course it did. Yeah,
it's wrong now.
The Europeans. Yeah.
It is so wrong now, especially in today's climate. The ending of Night of the Living Dead, when Ben gets killed. Sorry, spoilers. At the end, for no reason.
Yeah.
And
is he a zombie or isn't? Did they know he was a zombie?
Or were they just rednecks?
Yeah.
Rednecks
You weren't going to say
sorry,
that, were you?
rednecks. They're rednecks. I'm sorry. I just don't like the way. After watching Black Klansman, the ending of Black Klansman, I have a very.
But then that goes back. It's not that much of a tangent, is it? Because Blade Runner's about, like we were saying, it's about hunting the other and
people who don't that's different to us.
Yeah, why is Deckard the good guy?
He's
like
not
the main, like like the old film noir thing about
as a person, my biggest I don't like bullies.
No.
I despise bullies, and I despise people that don't like someone because they're different and they don't first. I always use the example. My fiance could could be completely the opposite to what she is in terms of physical appearance, and I would have still struck up a conversation with that day because of personality.
But that's the thing, isn't it?
I don't judge people on.
No, we aren't what we look. We aren't what we appear to be. It's who we are inside, isn't it?
Yeah,
I hate to quote Batman Begins, but
But Blade Runner, the replicants are different, so we have to shoot them.
Yeah.
And that is society. People are programmed, and they're programmed to. If someone in your family is a Blade Runner, you'd see replicant, and then it'd be passed down to all your family that we're good, the replicants are bad. And this is what I think science fiction does better than anything. It can take a social story and translate it to educate people.
Yeah.
You just got to want to listen.
Because take Blade Runner and replace it with the word bounty hunter.
Yeah.
And he's basically just this cowboy guy that used to go and hunt people for money.
But the people he's hunting, he has no. The bounty hunters, they'd be hunting him because they may have done something. The only thing the replicants have done is be alive.
Yeah, but essentially he's doing it because money.
Money, he's a bounty hunter.
Yeah,
that is true.
Detectives. He's not really a detective in the sense of the old noir thing, because I suppose he is, because in noir films they were PIs, weren't they? They weren't really actual detectives, so they were just doing it for money.
But you're right, he is more of a bounty hunter because he is being paid to take someone down. Yeah. He's not being paid to investigate.
Which is ironic.
As such, the investigation is part of what he's doing,
but
the end game is to retire.
Which is ironic because Harrison Ford playing a bounty hunter, even though he was taken down by one.
Yeah.
The ultimate bounty hunter. But
then again, he did knock him into the Sarlacc.
He did, by accident.
Yeah. Boba Fett, where?
But
shout out to Boba Fett as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he is the bounty hunter, isn't he? But yeah, that goes back to the Man with No Name trilogy.
Yeah.
Where Clint Eastwood is this. As much as he's the good guy, he's kind of heartless, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's all for money.
So I think we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna be doing an audio commentary on Blade Runner, so we can actually talk for 2 hours. we'll flip a coin on it, so we'll give the listeners a choice. A choice of which one we're gonna do. It'll be like a random, but Blade Runner, absolutely superb, and I think this has been, as a podcast, as a speaker personally, it's been one of the best podcasts we've done so far.
I got deep, didn't it?
Yeah. And this is what makes Blade Runner such a fantastic film. Yeah,
it still resonates today, doesn't it? You can still show people it today and see the wonder on their eyes. Wow, I've never seen anything like this before. And even if they don't like it and they feel like that, that's okay as well. I don't like it, but it looks cool.
But at least you've watched it. That's my example.
At least you have an opinion. Yeah.
I've been Stevie W.
And Callum,
See you all soon.
See you later.